were overseas on ship, and you know, we were standing at the lookout. You know, it was nighttime, and you're looking at the water, and that's when you'd have all those coming to Jesus moments. And I'm gonna tell you that that railing, that little area, the little smoke area, if that area
Yep.
can talk, if that area can speak, man, there's
Oh
a
man.
lot of truths. A lot of truths came out in that area. But anyway, I'm having this conversation, and right then and there, I remember Clay said, he was like, Ford, I'm never getting out. And I'm like, for real? He said, I'm going all the way. And then
Right.
he said, I'm gonna be a drill instructor. He said, I'm gonna be best damn drill instructor they've ever seen. He said, I'm
Right.
motivated. And he
Yeah,
said,
man.
I'm never getting out. He said, I'm gonna retire in this thing. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, hey man, that's if that's what you want to do. Hey, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help you. And I said, I support that. I said, that's what's up. And he did, man. And that's why when I did that video for your retirement, I didn't
Hmm.
give a lot of context, but that's what it was. We were standing there on that railing. I think it was the smoke area on the ship, and that's
Yeah.
Yep.
what you
It's
said.
the smoke area.
Yep,
Yep.
yep. And everything he said, he did it. That's what he did. He said exactly what he's going to do, and he did it. So that's why, for your retirement, I was like, hey man, I had to give you your respect because, a lot of people have concept conversations, where they think you know, it might do whatever, but you actually said what you were going to do and you did it. And then here you are now sitting T.O. Clay, light bulb sessions.
No
You can't,
doubt. No doubt.
so yeah, so I got to give you a lot of respect for that, my brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you, man. And it's you cats though, man. I mean, dog, you're was those cats that I was looking up to. You was that instrumental dude for me. Jensen Ford, you already know. As Monday rolls around, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, all these special holidays, man, I always think about you, bro. Like you did exactly what you said you was gonna do as well. You told me, yo, I didn't come in to do a career. I came in, I'm gonna get my education, I'm gonna do my 4 years, and I'm bouncing. And then from there, I'm gonna move on in my life to that next level. And to see you do that, is it's a blessing as well, man. And same for you, Lloyd Beckford, man. I mean, like we got Jamaica in the house, we got Trinidad in the house. You know what I
Bless,
mean?
bless,
Like,
bless, bless.
yo, man, like, hey, for everybody out there checking us out, it's T.O. Clay LightBulb Lessons, man. I got two of my best friends in the world with me today, man, and it's such a blessing, man, that we've been able to connect again over all of these years and come back full circle and be here today, man. And it's just open kimono. Everything that you will hear is real. There's nothing fugazi. It's all facts. We're all living our life, man. It's just such a blessing. And Lloyd Beckford, man, I love you, big dog. You know what I mean? Like
Most
I
definitely.
remember
Most
being in
definitely.
the field with you, man, and out there just with the engineers, man. You're all crazy, man. Engineers,
Yeah, man.
shout out to all
Respect.
the engineers. But seeing your world within your MOS and the things you had to do, it was special and near and dear to me as well, bro, because y'all have a very complex job, a job that many mistakes can't be made type thing. So
Woo.
I was just able to learn, man. So again, man, the blessing is all of us being here together, and it's it's
Man,
it's it's a pleasure for me to have you fellows on with me, and it means so much. And again, man, let's build, man. What's the science, man? Like
it's
what's
the
on your
science.
hearts and minds, man? What up?
Hey, we just took. You realize what just happened, right? We just took that setting from one ship, and we just transported ourselves 20 some odd years, and now here we are, man.
Yeah, man.
You
Wow.
know,
Mm,
You know,
that's
the
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 thing.
the unique thing to it is when I first joined the Marine Corps, I wasn't gonna do 20. I was gonna do four and go back home. And I look at it and I'm like, the first four hit, I went, man, I ain't going back to New York.
right.
Second four hit, I ain't going back to New York. So in a way, we both traveled similar journeys. You knew you weren't getting out.
Hmm.
Me, each time that time come, I knew I'm not going back to New York. So I'm
Right.
staying. No matter where I was in the world, I was staying. And it's so unique to hear, Jensen said, you spoke it. You spoke it into being.
No doubt.
And it happened. And what I take from that is anything in life that you want to happen, no matter what the situation is, you can make it happen. You just have to, one,
Mhm.
believe in yourself, and
Right.
two, just trust in the Almighty to direct your path. Because
Mm.
nothing can be done if you don't believe in yourself. And
Right.
just hearing what Jensen said, that you said you believe in yourself and you believe that you could be the best drill instructor that ever was, and you can
Mhm.
make it all the way to the top. To make it to sergeant major, that's no easy task.
No
You know what I'm
doubt,
saying?
man. I
And if you look
appreciate
back
that.
in history, we make difference. We make a difference. And when I say we make
Mhm.
a difference, is the people that people don't expect to get there, we get there
That's right.
because we're determined to get there. We're determined to make
Mm.
a difference. We're determined to leave an impact. And being a sergeant major, you leave so many impact on so many people, so many young Marines, so many civilians. Sometimes you don't even know how much impact you left.
Right.
That's right.
And that speaks volume, man. That speaks volume.
Right.
That's right. I agree with that. I agree with that, Lloyd. One of the things one of the things I always try to remember is that when you're in these positions, someone is looking at you. Now, whether or not that person has the whether or not they have the motivation or the will or the guts to actually come and tell you and say something, but a lot of times, a lot of people are looking at you and you're affecting lives that you may not you completely clueless about. And that's one of the reasons why too in those leadership positions, that's why they say lead by example, right? You're
Mhm.
walking the path because it's not just about you're not only doing it when you're in certain settings, you're doing it all the time because you don't know who's looking at you, who's idolizing you, who's emulating you, who's you know here I am all these years later, and I have leadership meetings every week, and I'll tell you every week when I sit in a leadership meeting, we're discussing obviously work and issues and so forth, but I'm taking mental notes. You know, the I take away something from someone. So
Mhm.
in the sense that it's continuous learning. So they may not be aware of it. When I sit in the meeting, I'm like, hey, I like how this person how he presents. I like how we did that. Or I like how this
Right.
person addresses. So I'm taking mental notes, and then I use that now to keep building on my own skills. So
Mhm.
it's like it's a never-ending journey. You know what I mean? So anyway, and then on reverse, I try to remember, hey, same way I'm looking at someone could be looking at me and emulating and learning and building. So it's like a two-pronged approach.
Right.
But yeah, so there's a lot of unsung heroes out there. There's a lot of folks walking around and probably they don't realize, hey man, they did something for someone and they have no idea the impact they may have had on someone's life. And that's huge.
Absolutely, man. What would you all say in terms of like what's one of the biggest things you all were able to take away from our time served, in the Marine Corps? What's that one big aha for you? Start with you, Lloyd, man. What's that one big thing that you took away from your services being a Marine?
I'm gonna tell you this much. The biggest thing I took away is after I retire and before I retire, it's a two-parter. So before I retire, when I got promoted to gunny, you know how most staff NCOs do a wet down, right?
Yeah.
I was never the normal. I've never been the normal, and I never be the normal. And the
Hmm.
reason why I say that is I owe my promotion to my young Marines that I put in the Marine Corps. And the reason why I said my young Marines that I put in the Marine Corps, I tried to become a drill instructor. I didn't make it. And I put this out there. And the reason why I put this out there is sometimes failure becomes success in something else. I couldn't do the teach backs for nothing, not from a lack of effort, not
Hmm.
not from a lack of trying. Believe me, I tried everything in the book you could think of.
Right.
I utilized the instructors. I did everything. I just couldn't get it, you know, but that was my heart. I always wanted to be a drill instructor from day one. I always wanted to be a drill instructor, but that was not my path that was written for me. So I was trying to take a different road than the road that was set for me. So I took the hit, and I came back. I went to recruiting, and I realized how much impact I have on people's life when two things happen. Marines that I put in the Marine Corps, later on, they say thank you. The ones that I did not put in the Marine Corps, but I taught them classes when they were freshmen. 1 year I taught 54 classes at one of my schools.
Wow.
54.
Man.
But it wasn't to all seniors. This was the freshman, sophomore, junior. And that left an impact where I had people a couple years later, when I reach out to me or whatever, say, thank you. You're the reason why I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah, man.
Man, that's powerful,
They were freshmen and sophomores.
Wow.
When I left recruiting duty. To hear that, that was like, whoa, I'm the reason why you joined the Marine Corps. I wasn't even there. You know, in my head, you know, I'm thinking, I'm like, wow, I'm like, okay, you know, and it brings you back to reality. When you open your mouth and you speak, you could speak power on somebody's life. You could speak wisdom on somebody's life.
No doubt.
You know, and when you carry yourself the way you do, you basically be an example for somebody to follow. That's why I made sure in everything that I did as a recruiter, I make sure that nobody could never say he was doing this wrong, or he was doing that wrong, or he was messing with this, or he was messing with that. I made sure of that, because one thing I realized, when you're a Marine and you put that uniform on, you're being watched.
That's right.
You're being observed.
That's right.
So the good, they're going to see. But the bad, they're going to see it even better. And they're going to highlight it.
That's right. That's going to get highlighted. That's right.
The other part is, when I got promoted to gunny, I had a dinner with all the people I put in the Marine Corps, all the Marines I put in the Marine Corps that was in my area. I was in Cali at the time. I had a dinner with all of them. And we sat down and we chopped it up. That was for me, that was better than any wet down. That was my wet down.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
I don't know if anybody else have done that, but that was my wet down.
Yeah.
Because I believe a wet down should be showing appreciation to who got you where you're at.
Got you there. That's it, man.
That's right.
My peers didn't get me to where I'm at.
No doubt.
Those young Marines get me to where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I wish that if there's any Marines on this, watching this, I wish that you take something from what I'm saying. Your young Marines is who make you who you are.
That's right.
Once you get to staff sergeant, you do, you know, you the knowledge and you the head, but you ain't the work. Your young Marines is the ones putting in the work.
That's right.
They're the ones that's clearing our minefield. They're the one that's clearing that route in my field. They're the one that making sure you move from point A to point B safe.
That's right.
They're the one that makes sure when the grunts is coming through, they should be able to drive through, get to their destination, and light them jokers up. They shouldn't have to worry about an IED trying to get to the destination. That's our job. So when I look at it, I was like, you know what? Everybody was like, yo, you having a wet down? You having a wet down? I said, I'm going to get back to you. Until now, I ain't get back to nobody. But I had it in my mind. I had something.
My brethren.
And I did. I did it. And am I proud that I did it? Yeah. Heck yeah. I'm happy I did it. Because what that did, that actually made me a little bit more humble. Just to sit there and chop it up with them made me a little bit more humble. It keeps you rooted and it keeps you grounded.
That's right.
And sometimes people don't understand what it is to be rooted and grounded. No matter how high you get, and we could say on the food chain, you have to stay rooted and grounded, because the day when you stop being rooted and grounded, that's the day you're either going to get kicked out, get caught up, or get killed. You got to stay rooted. And that's the biggest thing I took away from the Marine Corps, man. And I use it even until today, because leadership, and I know Jensen was talking about leadership earlier. Leadership is something you grow into. Leadership should be something from internal, not external.
Come on, man. Say that one more
Anybody can
time,
be
bro.
called a
Hey,
leader.
Say
hey,
that one more time, bro.
wait till you hear
Leadership
what I gotta say.
is
He's on it.
internal.
Yeah,
It
Come
has to
on,
come from
Bridget.
within.
That's
yeah,
You
right.
lead by example. You lead by love. You
yeah,
lead by understanding. You lead by
mm,
communication. And you
yeah.
lead by trust.
Come
Because
on,
if you
man.
can't do those things, whether you're in the Marine Corps leading Marines or you in the civilian world leading
Right.
civilians, the both world is the same thing. There's no
That's right.
different.
Right.
And I
That's right.
realize sometimes civilian may not understand where we're coming from, but eventually they kind of get it and be like, oh, okay,
Hmm.
that light bulb click on,
That light
you
bulb.
know,
That's
Man,
right.
that light bulb click on
man.
and
The
like,
light bulb.
yeah, he
Hey,
actually making sense. That's
Yeah,
how I
man.
look at it.
man, you hit
Oh,
so many. You hit so many stuff right there, brethren. And I'm gonna say one other thing though. When you say as far as you speak positive, now in the same way, what people got to realize is you can speak positive or you can speak negative on someone. You know what I
mm,
mean? So to your point,
right.
yeah, man. What we say, that power, and it's the power of words. To a person or to yourself, you can speak positive or negative. You know what I mean? And people
Hmm.
got to realize, like you said, it starts in here, man. So, what you speak, and then that ends up becoming your action. So anyway, I don't want to. I just wanted to point that out because a lot of folks do that. Then they wonder, hey man, I don't know why I'm not making it. Well, what did you speak for yourself? You
Right.
know. But anyway, but
The funny thing
my
is,
yeah,
I like what you say right there. My grandson is 4 years old, and other day I said something to him. I can't remember right now, but he went home and something happened, and he said it to his grandmother. And later on, they told me, and I was like, "Wow." They said, "Wonder where you heard that from, Baba," because he called me Baba.
yeah.
So I'm like, you see what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And it's so
uh,
crazy. If a little 4-year-old can figure that out,
Yeah.
why can't grown folks figure it out too?
you
Mm.
know what I mean?
Wow.
Hey,
That's powerful,
that's
man.
on point. Hey, I'm gonna tell you. So you hit a lot of points, Reggie. You hit a lot of points. So check this out. My aha moment was um, an H&S company in First Sergeant Watkins' office. Now back then he was a first sergeant. I think he retired sergeant major.
Yeah, he
Um,
did.
but
Yep.
but that man right there, I never had the opportunity to tell him. In the year and a half or 2 years under his leadership, he made a huge impact on me. So my aha moment was in his office one day, and well, what happened is whenever I walk through the hallway, if he's in his office and he see me, he always call me. Before coming to my office, you know, and I'd go in there. At the time, I always thought, man, this guy's on me. He's on me, man. But it's funny because later on, I use that tactic, right? I go into. I got like 20 folks reporting to me. I'll pop in. I'll call them. And hey, man, come in here. What's going on?
Right.
Whether it's a problem or not, it might just, how was your weekend? But it's like a
Hmm.
check-in. You're
Yeah.
checking in, you know, and that's what he did. So he would check in with me all the time. So one day I'm in his office and he said, close the door. He's like, hey, Ford. He was like, I'm gonna tell you something. He said, you have an ability. He said, you could be a great leader. He said, I watch you. And he said that, I want you to understand the responsibility that you have with these Marines. Now, at the time, I'm thinking, you know, I didn't see myself being let's say, a great leader or even a leader. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm doing my thing. He's like, nah, man. He said, he said, I want to help you. And he said, you have the ability to become a great leader. He's like, this is the start of your career. And he said, no matter where you go, he said, I want to help you. So First Sergeant Watkins at that time was the one that planted the seed, because till
Mm.
then, I was just the kid out of New York that came to the Marine Corps for temporary status, just to uh, just for a switch up in life. And he planted that seed, and that was what started me as far as saying, okay, you know what, I'm gonna take that path, you know. So First Sergeant Watkins was the one that was my aha moment, because prior to then, I never saw myself as a leader. I never saw myself as leading anyone. I'm like, hey, I'll just help you best as I can. First Sergeant Watkins is the one that actually planted the seed, and the short time he was there, he did help me. You know, he would call me in his office, he would drop knowledge. Um, you know, I had this issue with Clay, and First Sergeant Watkins is in the office, and he's like, okay, he's like, you tell me, what would you do? He
That's
said,
right.
you're standing behind this desk, you're me. And he said, what would you do? He said, this is your Marine, what would you do? And that's a lot of trust, because
Yeah.
what he did was he said, whatever action you say, that's what's going to happen. So he put it on me, and he said, here's your chance to apply leadership skills, you know. And I told him, I said, hey, First Sergeant, I think I'm a, you know, told him what I'm going to do. He said, okay. And he said, well, I trust you, execute. And he said, whatever happens after that is going to be your responsibility. He said, so just so you know, you're making the decision as a leader. I respect it. And he said, now go execute your decision. And
Mm.
you know, and he said, whatever else takes place after, now you have to make sure you're being held accountable, so on and so forth. So anyway, so he gave me that platform, and that's a lot, like you were saying, Lord, it's a lot of trust, right? Because here I
Right.
am, young Marine, and you know, he left it completely up to me, and he said, okay, I'm gonna let you start. I'm gonna help you. But part of helping you is you got to be able to take those steps, take those risks, make those decisions, so on and so forth. Because now you're learning, and like you said, you're learning and growing, and that's how, you know, that's how you develop. You know, so but and a lot of things that he did, I translated that, you know, later on. You know,
Mhm.
I'm telling you, in all the years that I've managed folks to this day, I still do that, and I've actually had folks come to my office and say, man, you know, if I didn't pop in for a while, you know, they'll come find me. They're like, hey, Jensen's everything good? I'm like, yeah. Like, oh well, you know, I usually see you. You know, hadn't seen you, so just want to make sure you're okay. So I have people asking me to see if I'm okay, because they're like, they haven't seen you. You know, is everything? And they've actually shared that, you know, we like how you check in, you know, because it
Right.
shows it shows that you do care about us. You know, we're not just a body. You know, we're not, like, to your point, Lori, we're not just a body here. You know, just completing tasks. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, that was my aha moment, and I think that's when my journey actually kind of began, and you know, moved forward out in the civilian world. And I took a lot of little things that I learned in the Marine Corps. Man, those things still help me even today, all these years later. So you
Yeah,
know,
man.
so anyway, First Sergeant
Nah,
Watkins, hats off to you. Or Sergeant Major, retired, hats off to you, because you did make a difference, you know, for this former Marine, and I appreciate you.
absolutely, man. And he's going to see this too. Shout out to Sergeant Major Raynard Watkins, man. And it's just amazing how, you know, like you said, man, that example trickled down, man. Um, and man, I'm just so grateful to hear you two talking right now, dog. Is like it's very, very sentimental, gentlemen. I mean, like crazy sentimental to me right now, which also brings me to the point, man. How did you two meet? Where did y'all meet, man? Run us
Oh
down on that,
man.
man. How did y'all meet, y'all?
Did we meet on ship? Back, I don't remember. I think we met on overseas, no?
Wow, that's
Because we were attached to the Mew. I think we were the Mew,
it
and we
was
were
on the ship
doing we were
because
doing training exercises,
yeah, because they work during the workup because
the
during the
workups.
training, during like the field training, we're in different places because you guys was up by was it San Mateo area somewhere up
San
there?
Mateo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, and I was down on main side because I was that was with was a 13 mil.
that's
So
yeah.
right.
once we started doing the workup when we got on ship, your burden was below my burden,
Hmm.
Yeah.
and
And I
I don't
want to
remember
say,
where we link up though.
I think it was the big guy. He was engineer too, man. Big dude. I forgot his name.
Bearfield,
Um,
Bearfield,
Big Bearfield.
Sergeant
Bearfield.
Bearfield, big
Sergeant
huge
Bearfield.
cat. Yeah,
Oh,
He
Yeah.
came to me
Okay.
one day. He came to me one day and he said, "Hey Ford," he said, "I know somebody, man, from your neck of the woods." And I'm like, "What?" He said, "Yeah, man, Jamaican cat, you know." So,
Yeah.
and I think he was the one that did the intro. It was Sergeant
Wow.
Bearfield.
That's
It was,
crazy.
and if you want to hear crazy, check this out. Sergeant Bearfield worked with my cousin, who is also a retired Marine gunny in engineering platoon. Years later, my cousin was stationed
Gunny Ren.
at Pendleton, and Sergeant Bearfield is talking to my cousin. He says, "Hey man, where you from?" And he said Trinidad. He said, "I know what Trini. His name is Ford." And he said, "Man, that's my cousin."
You talking about
Wow.
Gunny Warren, right?
Say again?
You talking about Gunny Warren, right?
No, no, not Warren. Gunny Wren. So he was
Ren.
only attached to Wren. He was attached to engineering for a short time, and he one day he texted me. He said, "Hey man," he said, "Sergeant Bearfield said, what's up?" I was like, "Get out of here, man." I think by then he was staff, I think, but yeah, man. So my cousin worked with him years later. Man, you can't make that up.
You
Wow.
know we link back up in 29 Palms, right? Me and him
But
work in 29 Palms.
29 Palms,
Yep.
man,
So he
Mm,
retired before me. He retired and then I retired.
you know.
man.
So yeah, and and then if you want to talk about leadership and so forth, now imagine the person that I was. Let's say I was no good, man. Let's say whatever. So here's this guy years later meeting my family, my cousin. So what message is he
That's
gonna
right.
convey to my
How's
to my
yeah.
to my family? He's gonna say, "Oh man, Ford, that guy was a waste." You know,
Right.
uh, you know what I mean. So my point is, sometimes you do things and you don't realize, you know, as far as down the road, what impact that may or may not have. You have no idea. You know what
No
I mean?
doubt.
So,
You see, at the end of the
Wow.
day, whether it's good or it's bad, they have an old saying: "Good smell and bad smell follow you."
yeah,
That's right. That's
So
right.
if you let it out, it's gonna follow you. If it's good,
That's
it's gonna
right.
follow you. If it's bad, it's gonna follow you.
That's
Simple
true,
as that.
though. That's true.
yeah,
Wow, man, that's absolutely amazing, man. I mean, across across the spectrum, I've met a good batch of Marines from Jamaica. Uh, and shout out to a lot of them. Paul Nixon, Donif, a lot of cats from Jamaica. But far as Trini, you the only cat I ever met from Trinidad, Justin, for
man.
in the Marine Corps. Like for real. Like, do you know of anybody else, throughout the stress that you served from Trinidad? Did you come across
Hey,
anybody else?
you know what? So besides my cousin who I knew was in, there was one other Trini that I met, and same thing, small world. So I'm in boot camp. I'm in boot camp, and my drill instructor, we were on the rifle range doing qual, and I'll never forget, man. I was nervous as hell with the damn qual stuff, man. And
Yeah.
the DI calls me over, they put me a forward. So I'm thinking, man, what I do wrong now, man? So I go stand up. Yes, sir. He said, "Let's go. Walk with me." He said, "Don't say nothing." Yes, sir. So I'm walking next. I'm not where I'm going. So he walks. You know how on the range qual, you gotta hold up the target. So we're
Right.
down here. So we walk down. We're in the back. We walk down, and he says, "Hey," he said, "I want you to meet this recruit." And then I look. There's a Trini, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And then I was like, "Okay, that's it. That's enough. Get back." And that's
Go
it.
away.
Yeah, man. Because
Wow.
I'm over here and I'm cheesing. I'm like, "Oh man, another
Yeah.
Trini." And he was like, "Hey, get back." But later, you know what he did? I'm gonna share it. So this is what I'm saying with leadership. So a person listening to this might think, "Oh man, that drill instructor, he I don't know what the term is, broke rank, but he took a recruit to go meet another recruit." Now I don't know if that's allowed or not. I can't tell you, but this is what the drill instructor shared with me later on. That's what I'm saying. My leadership, man. Um, Later on when I graduated and so forth, and I found out that that drill instructor was married to a Trini. His wife was from
Mm,
Trinidad, right? So we
Wow.
talked, we chopped it up. So he was like, he said the same thing you said, Clay. He said, I haven't met that many trainees in the Marine Corps. So when
Right.
the odds of having two Marines in the same on the same rifle call, I figured, well, you guys can meet. But
Absolutely.
then he said on top of that, he said, Ford, you were nervous as hell on the rifle range, and he said, I figured if you meet another cat from your hometown, you'd relax.
Yeah, calm
You
you
know what I
down.
mean?
Yeah.
You calm me down. Because
Wow,
he
that's crazy, dog.
so
Woo!
he
That's
goes, so
crazy.
that's why. So he said the other parts of that is he said, man, you was because I want to say the first or second day on rifle call, man, my rifle I swung it the other way. It was loaded, and
Mm.
man, so all the drill instructors
You out
grabbed
there
me up.
flagging cats.
So ever since then, I was nervous. So anyway, so what he did was in his own way, it was like, and I did. I met this trainee. So now I know, man, there's a trainee guy back there holding the target, and I did
Right.
relax. So at the time I didn't get it. I'm like, oh man, I met another trainee. That's cool. But the drill instructor was like, he said, I figured if you meet somebody from where you're from, at least might help you just relax a little bit. Because he said you got to be relaxed to do the rifle call. You got to relax. So anyways, what I'm saying is, here's this that leader, and he did just one little thing, man,
Yeah.
that made a difference. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He turned he
Years
turned he
later,
turned on that light bulb for you, man. That
the
that
light
little
bulb,
bitty
man.
light bulb, man.
Little
Wow.
light bulb,
That's
man.
powerful, man.
Years later, I'm on main side. I'm on main side. And won't you know, man, I came across that same Marine, the Trini. We crossed
Mm.
paths on main side. We chopped it up for a little bit, but then later on,
Yeah.
went overseas and went our separate ways. But yeah, he was happy too, because he was like, hey man, he said I was so happy to meet another Trini, because we're from another country. We're here, and it can be a little intimidating. You know what I mean?
Right.
And here we are in the U.S. Marine Corps. That's like a big deal for us, man.
Yeah, man.
So yeah. So for him too, he was like, man, I was so happy to meet another trainee, somebody else here with me. We weren't even in the same battalion or anything, but mentally, I got somebody else here with me. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? Yeah.
Amen.
Wow, man. I remember on ship, man, talking about light bulb moments. Was on ship, and the Navy put on they put on the talent show, yo. And
Yeah.
I remember we was like, yo, we getting in there. We're gonna spit. And sure enough, man, when Lloyd Beckford grabbed the mic, dog, and started spitting that ragamuffin, dog, yo, it shut the whole ship down, son. Like word up. Like that was it. When Lloyd got the mic,
Oh
bro, like
man.
it shut it down, dog. I'll never forget that, dog. That's one of the most vivid memories I have of my whole career. In front of that whole ship,
Oh
because we
man.
all spit. I spit first. Then never just spit. It was another cat. He spit. Um, and then Lloyd came through on Taylor and Charlie. And when Lloyd got the mic and started spitting that ragamuffin, dog, it was a rap. I remember the whole ship just going crazy, yo. Like I said,
Yo,
man,
rude
some
boy,
great
shut it down.
moments, man. Some great moments, yo. Like real talk, man. I mean, for the young cats out there now, I know it's 2023, many years later, fellas. Uh, but there's especially you understand Lloyd coming from that recruiting background. There's a lot of cats from Jamaica, from Dominican Republic, a lot of different places that they don't know, you know, that they can even get in the service, man. Like, how was that for you all, man? Can y'all kind of build on that? Like, what was it, man? Was it, I come from Jamaica, I end up in New York. I just go on the recruiting station with somebody putting it in your ear. How was y'all looking at it back then when you all joined, man, coming from where you all are originally from?
Man, my my experience was crazy, and I'm gonna say this. I came from Jamaica. When I came from Jamaica, they put me in the seventh grade twice because they said my reading wasn't up to par. I took it in stride. Once I got to high school, though, um, my buddies were laughing, man, because they're like, "Oh, you're a freshman, they're sophomore." So I'm like, "Okay." So I told them, I was like, "You know what? Let's make a bet." I was like, "Bet. I bet I graduated with you or before you."
Wow.
They didn't
That's what's
believe me,
up.
man. They laughed. My 11th grade year, I was at 11th grade the first 6 months. I was a senior the second 6 months. I graduated in 3 years. I
Wow.
tried college.
Man,
It didn't work out so well. I was on academic probation. I was like a 1.59 GPA. And I talk about that every day because guess what? The same thing that happened to me with drill instructor school is the same thing that happened to me with college. A failure doesn't mean your day is done. It doesn't
that's
mean your
right.
journey is done. A failure
That's right.
just means you
That's
took a
right.
step back, relook at the situation, approach it from a different direction. So
Hmm.
once I dropped my classes and stuff, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? Now, I never thought about the Marine Corps because of the fact is the recruiter that used to come to the school was rude and disrespectful. And I told him, man, get out my face, man. Oh, you ain't gonna do nothing. I'm like, get out my face, dog. I don't want to hear nothing from you. So I had like a turn off, you know what I'm saying, by one individual. And that's why I say your actions speak loud and people may not understand. But it didn't completely turn my mind off because I walked into every recruiting office just to hear what they had to say. And it's so
Mm.
crazy that I walked in a recruiting office last, and Staff Sergeant Brown at the time, I'll never forget his name. Staff Sergeant Brown looked at me, and the other drill instructor, I won't call no name, the other recruiter, I won't call no name, but the other recruiter was standing there. I just looked at him and walked right by him.
Right.
Went to Staff Sergeant Brown, sat down. He was like, first, let's see if you qualify. And I'm like, huh? He's like, let's see if you qualify. I'm like, huh?
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, I'm walking in here. Y'all want me. I'm like, this joker gonna be like, let's see if you qualify. I'm like, okay, all right, I hear you. So, I sat down, took the test and stuff, went to MEPS pass and everything. And I tell you, it's like my cousin was in the Marine Corps and I spoke with him. Nobody knew I was joining. I spoke with my cousin and he said, look, whatever decision you make, it got to be on you. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
not, Marine Corps is not easy
All
and it's
right.
not hard. But one thing I'm going to tell you though, if you do join the Marine Corps, trust nobody, not even your mama. And I
Mm.
never forget those words.
Right.
He didn't explain it, but I understood it later.
Yeah.
Um, Trust is something you got to earn. So if somebody earn your trust, you're good. But if they haven't earned your trust, hold on to it tightly.
Right.
That's
Right.
the translation I got from it later in life.
Right.
But I
Right.
never
Right.
forget that phrase that he taught me. And I shout out to Christopher Williams. He did the time in the Marine Corps, and he got out, joined the Army, and complete his time. He's down there in Alabama.
Man.
That's my cousin, man, down there. I respect you and I appreciate you, man, because
Hey.
you kind of helped me make up my mind without even realizing that you did.
Right.
But once I joined, man, I was like, yo, this is a way out of New York. This is a way for me to make a
Hey.
difference. And ultimately, this is
Hey.
a way to make my mom proud.
Mm.
More
Yeah.
than anything else, I value my mom' opinion. I value her support more than everybody else in my entire family. And when I went home and told my mom that I'm joining the Marine Corps, she said, you know what? I raised you well. Whatever decision you make, I support you. I may not like it, but I
That's
support
blessed,
you.
man.
As parents, we got to understand that our kids are going to make their own decisions.
Facts.
But the
Facts.
Yes.
one thing you got to make sure you do before they even get to that decision point is raise them well.
Wow.
Fathers,
That's right.
be in your kids' life. Raise them well. Don't care what your baby
That's
mama
right.
got
That's
drama
right.
and all that. Look, put that aside because it ain't about
That's
you
right.
and it ain't about them. It's about the kids.
It's
Make
about it.
sure
That's right.
that you have some positive impact on your children's life because the impact that you have on them and the words that you speak out of your mouth will
Mm.
shape their future and will
That's right.
give them the tools they need to survive this cruel world that we live in. The world ain't nice, the world is cruel.
Mm.
That's right,
And for
man. That's
youngsters
right.
to have the right foundation, it makes a big difference. And I'm telling you, when my
That's right.
mama said that, I was so happy and relieved because I never ever want to go against my mama. But if I
Right.
have to, God forbid, I may have to, but that's never our first choice. And you know,
Yeah.
people may call me a mama's boy or whatever. Yo, I love my mama. I protect my mama to the grave. If I gotta die for her, I die. Plain and simple. Everybody else in the family can take care of themselves, but my mama is that's my pride and joy
Yeah,
right there.
respect, brethren.
Bro, I
So you know,
respect that.
Respect. Hey, that
it's
foundation you talked about right there, man. That's huge. That foundation. You know what I mean? Because a lot of folks, they're building it. They're building the future on sand, and then
No
later
doubt.
on, and then
it
years later,
crumbles.
it's like it crumbles, and then but and you over here, you blame this person, that person, but a lot of it starts way back, man. What'd you start that on? You started that thing on sand, so you were already off to a bad start from the jump, But man, that's
You got to
powerful, right?
remember. You got to
Mm,
remember the Bible says, raise up the child in the way, so when they grow old, they don't depart from thee.
that's right.
That's
If you
right,
look
man.
at that, there's a two-part translation. There's a part that's biblical, raising them in a biblical principle, but there's also a part raising them in general, imparting
Mm,
That's
your
right.
knowledge, your experience, teaching them. So that way, when they run into that roadblock, they know, guess what? I have choices. I
That's
can either
right.
go over it, around it, under it, or try to
Yeah,
force through it. Simple
that's
right.
as
right.
that.
That's right, and that's why in the Bible too, there's a lot of instances where they talk about the uh, the father putting their hand on the child and the son, and then they're blessing them. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
it's the same thing, man. It's the power of words, and it's like people don't realize, it's what you speak, what you do, that impact, right? What are you providing, to the child in your life? You know what I mean? So they got to realize, hey, man, you're the pillar, you're the rock, you
Hmm.
have a lot of power internally, mentally, and what you speak, what you do has a huge impact on that young generation. You know what I mean? So even within the home, just that simple act, putting that into practice, you are blessed. And so what people got to realize is, you have that power. You have that power.
Amen.
It's in the Bible. You have that power to bless your child, to bless another, the words you speak and what you do. You know what I mean? So, but that's the foundation, and that's the foundation, and that impact that you have is significant because now you have this individual who's going to grow up to become an adult, and you've imparted, such a positive, solid foundation that's going to help this individual later on. So when they come across adversity, they don't crumble, right? Like you said, Lloyd, just because you have a failure, it doesn't mean it's the end, whatever the case may be. And as far as the young generation, Clay, that's one of the problems, man. A lot of times now you have a lot of young folks who come across, these, let's just say, failings, right? And they crumble,
True.
and it's almost like they don't know what to do, how to get out of it, how to proceed. For them, it's like the end. You know what I mean? So anyway, that has a huge impact on the young generation later on. How they deal with life, deal with problems, deal with people. That has a huge impact. So, but yeah, man. So what you talking about, Lloyd? That's powerful, man.
It is,
That's
man.
that's powerful.
It
To
is.
add to that, gents, also us as seasoned veterans, because we are seasoned veterans.
Facts.
We are seasoned veterans. We're seasoned
Yeah.
veterans in the Marine Corps. We're seasoned veterans in life
No doubt.
because whatever we were brought up with, and then you got to remember when we went to boot camp, they stripped us down completely
Hmm.
Yeah,
and they build us back up. So your foundation was still there. They didn't touch it. They can't touch it. That's permanent.
Hmm.
But what they did was they took your like life experience and break that down and then build you back up and
yeah,
shape you and mold you in a certain way for you to be able to exist in the Marine Corps, for you to strive in the Marine Corps. That's what the drill
Hmm.
instructors do. That's why I think drill instructors' jobs are so important because you literally take anywhere
yeah,
from 60 to 100 recruits and you mold them, you
yeah.
train them, you teach them, you educate them, you counsel them, you mentor them into being Marines,
That's
function
right.
Yeah, man.
Marines.
Yeah.
you know. And I think what we're lacking today in society is more, we need more mentors,
Mm-hmm.
because unless someone goes through the military and receives some of that structure, they don't know how to deal with a lot of things,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't sometimes don't have nobody to turn to. They don't have a mentor to turn to.
Right.
True.
You know what I'm
True.
saying? And that's why I thank God every day for Master Sergeant David Townsend. He was my mentor from when I was private Beckford. Because I showed up talking our private. I was supposed to be a PFC, but I showed up private. I got promoted later. So I met him from back in 1996,
Yo,
December.
my man Lloyd.
I met
Hey,
him, and the funny thing is, we met on the soccer field at Foster.
yeah,
Wow.
Somebody told me about they playing soccer down in Foster. I'm like, all right, I'm going down there. I got my boots and stuff. I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna go play some ball.
yeah.
And from that day, he took me under his wing and he taught me. You know, that joker had me sit down reading. When everybody else out chasing tails and stuff, he had me reading.
Mm.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that he had me reading came in handy later. You know what I'm saying? As a young little PFC Lance Corporal, people trying to test me. I'm like, look, I request mass. What? You ain't supposed to know nothing about that. See, I know something about that though.
Right.
So guess
That's
what?
right.
Yeah,
Recognize. And I tell you, man,
yeah.
I've been through some stuff, but guess what? His
You have the
mentorship
knowledge.
got me through those moments. The pen is mightier than the sword, because I'm hot headed. I'll pick up a machete quick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'll pick up a
Yeah. I know
machete
about
quick.
you,
I,
man.
That's
I'll go swing
right.
a
We
machete real quick.
we
But
we ain't
I
gonna talk
had to
about stuff on there, but
understand.
we ain't gonna talk about stuff on it. You got some stories. You know what I mean?
We gonna leave those alone. But
What?
you
Right.
know what I'm saying? He taught me the pen is mightier than the sword.
Mm.
So the
Yeah,
pen can bring you justice. The pen
No
can
doubt.
level the playing field. The sword just set you back, because once you use it, you can't take it back. But you
Mm-mm.
can continuously using that pen, and that's one of the things that he taught me from private all the way through
yeah,
to gunning.
man. That's blessed.
Wow.
That's blessed. Hey,
Wow.
you know what? I gotta give a shout out to my cousin because you know you were asking Clay. You know, Gunny Wren retired, man. So that's who introduced me to the Marine Corps. It was my cousin back in New York. I'm gonna tell you, you know, back then we ain't gonna say, but I wasn't doing nothing. Let's just put it like that. I wasn't
Leave it
doing
at that.
nothing.
Leave it at
Yeah.
that.
Shout out to Church Ave. You know what I mean?
Look, I'm telling you, Boston
Man,
Road.
listen,
Yeah.
oh man, shout out to Bed-Stuy. Listen, but hey man, so he's like, hey man, have you meet somebody? And he took me to recruit. I'm like, man, you talking about Marine Corps? Man, I don't even know what the Marine Corps is. But shout out to Staff Sergeant Cooper. I don't know where he is, but I'm telling you, Staff Sergeant Cooper in the recruiting office, he sat me down and I told him, I said, look, man, I said, don't feed me no BS, man. Tell me straight up, you know. And he did. He showed me the Marine Corps video. You know, we chopped it up, and he spoke to me on some real stuff, man. He was like, "Hey, this is what you can do, options," and he laid it all out. You know, he wasn't trying to just sell me a story or get a number. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you know, he laid it down. And then top of that, you know, back then I'm smoking heavy, all this other stuff, and I finally told him I'm serious about it. He actually had me come to I would meet him at this I think it was a high school track field or something, and he would
So
he would
running
meet
in.
me he'd meet me there and he'd run with me. So he was like, hey, he said, I'm not gonna send you to boot camp for you to fail. He was like, you gotta stop how you're living right now, you gotta slow that stuff down. He's like, yeah, slow that stuff down, you gotta start, you know, building your body and so forth. And he's like, I'm gonna do it with you. And he did. We'd go run that track. Man, let me tell you, man,
That's real.
it was rough, but he was there with me. He literally put on his PT gear and he was like, "Let's go," and he did, man. And you know, he helped me out, man. So it wasn't just like I wasn't just like another the recruiting officer, another number, another statistic. That man actually took time and was like he wanted to see me succeed. You know what I mean? And anyway, so joined the Marine Corps and then the rest is history, you know. But my
Mm.
cousin is the one that did the intro, and then Staff Sergeant Cooper is the one that took the reins. And got me in the Marine Corps. And back then, I'm living in I'm living in Brooklyn. The recruiting station is on Jamaica Ave in Queens.
No
He'd come
doubt.
pick me up. He'd come pick me up. He'd take me back home. He's like, hey man, he's like, and he did. That man would drive me, man. He's like, hey, we gotta go to the track, you know, 6 a.m. And I'm like, man, he'd show up,
Wow.
knock on the door, and I'm like, sure enough, I'm like, man. He's like, let's go. I'm like, man. But point is, he actually put in, time,
Work.
his love and whatnot, as far as helping me out. And I gotta say thanks to him because I got to the Marine Corps, man. I seen a lot of folks fail, but if I had joined boot camp at the state I was, I don't think I would have made it. I,
Right.
I
It's
wouldn't have made it,
it's so
so
funny you
Hmm.
said that because
Wow.
like most of the cats that came back from boot camp, they came back and they were like, "Yo, our staff at the time, I was like, staff on Beckford, man, what you doing here is harder than what they doing down in boot camp, man."
Right.
Look,
Right.
we used to look. I had a philosophy: if you train them harder than they gonna train them, it should be a cakewalk for them
No
when they
doubt.
get there.
yeah,
So we had a rigid training, and we did that with my mindset of understanding. When I went back as drill instructor, trying to become a drill instructor, I realized how the drill instructors are trained. So I took that mentality. So I actually left with something. I may not left being a drill instructor, but I
Right.
had the mentality and
yeah,
the understanding. And when I got to recruiting, I actually used that to
Mm.
set up a training program
okay,
to make sure that whatever we're doing is effective enough or our runs are effective enough, everything that we're doing. And it paid
yeah,
off. So when somebody came back and said that, I was feeling myself. I was
Yeah.
like, yep,
Yeah.
yeah.
we did it.
Puts of
We
the
did it.
labor. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good though. You did it the right way, man. Where did you
yeah.
recruit at again, Lloyd? Where was you a recruiter?
I recruited out of Fordham Road in the Bronx. Oh
Ah,
Lord,
wow.
The
No
boogie
man,
doubt.
right
joint.
up the road from Vim.
Yeah.
That used to
Man,
be my old store,
Vim.
man. Look, I ain't had no money growing up, so guess what?
This man
I
said
grew up
Vim. He took it
on
back right
Lee.
there.
I grew up on Lee and Levi jeans. Used to be cheap then.
Yeah,
Believe
man.
me, used to be cheap.
Yep.
I get me
No
a pair of
doubt.
jeans for like 2 for 20, 3 for 21,
Yeah,
and
man.
Patrick Ewing. I wear more Patrick Ewing than anybody else I probably know. I couldn't afford
No
no
doubt.
Jordans, but guess what? I could afford me my 33 Patrick Ewing, and that's what I
Yeah.
That's
wore.
good.
The ill Ewings was dope though. The Ewings was
Yeah, they
hot.
I
were,
couldn't
man.
afford it,
With
dog.
the big
Look,
tongue. They had
I live
the
within
big
my
tongue on
means.
that joint. Yeah. The Ewings was dope. Them joints
Man,
was dope, son.
they had the tongue
Word.
up to your shin.
Yeah. No doubt. Yo, that's
Those were
classic,
the
son.
days, man. Those were the days.
Wow, dog.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Man, wow,
man.
man. Hey, for those out there peeping, man, now you all can physically see with your own eyes, man, where I my roots come from. These brothers are my roots. These are the leaders that were in charge of me. These were the fellas that was holding me accountable. The fellas that was looking me in my face, giving me that 100, steering me in the right direction, leading by example. I could just keep going on and on. And as you can see, the plethora of knowledge, wisdom, understanding that my two brothers bring forth, and we just chopping up, man. We just building. We call this our rude boy connection. It's always
Oh,
been that from day one. Back in the days, rude boy connection.
yeah,
We've traveled the globe together, many great experiences together, man, and it's truly, man, my honor, man, to have you two here with me on Lightbulb Lessons, man. I appreciate y'all, bro.
yeah, man.
We'll
Bless,
continue to
bless,
build,
bless,
man. Always
bless,
Yeah,
going to
man. This
continue
bless.
to build, man.
this this is blessed, man. Hey, it's funny you say rude boy connection because one of the things that we did. So we have obviously in the group we had those who were the leaders, NCOs, whatever the case may be, but the group always held the group accountable.
No
Now
doubt.
this is so what Lloyd was saying as far as being humble, right? As a leader, you got to be humble. Um, you got to stay grounded. Same way for those who are learning and developing, you got to stay humble too, right? Because
Right.
you're gonna have to be able to receive criticism,
Mhm.
and I can say on this platform for all those listening, one of the things that we did, we checked one another.
No
You know,
doubt.
we would sit and have a conversation amongst ourselves, be like, hey man, that right there, man, I was sideways. And we would check
Hmm.
each other. You know, we might have had some emotions involved or whatever the case may be, but we would circle back and once you calm down, you thought about it, you're like, you know what, yeah man, that was solid advice right there. So we took care of one another. We held each other accountable, and that requires a lot of humility because you got to be able to have your peer, your brother, you know, criticize you, but he's doing it out of love, respect. He wants to see you develop. You know what I mean? So, and that was something that we did. Often we would have them sidebars, man. We would have a lot of sidebars, man.
Right.
Whether it be in the berth, and whether it be on on the smoke deck. Well, we would have a lot of sidebars, man. A lot of powwows, man. We'd sit in politics, real talk. You know.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes even in our personal life,
Right.
we
Right.
literally get together and be like, hey, look, man, I got this situation going on, and we together we're like, oh man, try to, and you got to think, here's a bunch of young Marines. We're in our 20s,
That's right.
young, you know what I mean? We're over here, 19, 20, 21, and we barely have any experience. You know what I'm saying? Well, but together, amongst the four, five, six of us are like, hey man, we put together different viewpoints, experiences, or whatever, and see if we can
Mhm.
collectively now help. You know what I mean? Help
Right.
help our own. So respect to the Root Boy connection for all them years.
Yeah,
Uh,
man.
my man Dre, U.S. Navy. He's out there in Virginia right now.
Right.
But man, enough respect because,
No
and that's
doubt.
something I want the group to know, man. Hey, stay humble. Be humble enough to receive criticism and realize that anybody that's trying to, you know, they're trying to help you. You know what I mean. Trying to develop you. That person cares about you. That person loves you. So it's like, you know, receive the message, but also realize that this is a person that's trying to see you build, trying to see
That's
you
right.
grow. So yeah, man. Anyway, respect.
Next time we
Man.
do this, we definitely Clay, we definitely try to see if we can get Dre and Q on here, man. That'd be awesome.
Oh,
That's
no
pretty
doubt.
much the
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
almost a full crew, almost a full
Yeah,
crew.
yeah,
So we definitely
absolutely.
got to try to put that together. I'll reach out to
yeah,
Dre. I don't have Q's number. I think his number changed, but between the three of us, one of us will definitely get a
yeah,
hold of
man.
them.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, no doubt, man. I like I say, I was telling Jensen not long ago, when I was stationed in Quantico, I would drive down to Newport News. Dre was down there in the Chesapeake area.
Yeah.
Um, we hung out a few times, kicked it. Uh, but he's I know he's went on into I believe the medical aspect of things, man. And it's amazing because the chick that he had just started dating, like they went on their first date on Virginia Beach. I was with him. That is his current wife still to
that's
this
his
day.
wife now. Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you know what I'm
That's his
saying?
wife.
So
You know what I mean?
Clean.
uh, I'm
Hey, that's
definitely proud of that man, and I know his brother Clyde. I've spoken to Clyde a few times, but again, man, it's a we have our internal Rude Boy crew for those out there peeping us out right now, but we also have a broad expansion of cats that always wanted to be a part of that Rude Boy
yeah,
connection, and we have boundaries. You know what I mean? You have to be an ill dude to
yeah,
rock with us. You know
yeah.
what I
That
mean?
yeah, yeah. Boundaries, man.
No disrespecting nobody, but yo, you had to be an ill cat to be within our inner
Yeah,
circle, man. And everything you said, Jensen, is true, man. Like just that accountability, man, looking out for each other, that love, that bond. And like you say, man, all these years later, here we are.
yeah,
And I'm
man.
grateful for that. And back to what Lloyd was saying, my mom asked me, like, do you miss it, son? And I always tell her, I'm like, nah, from the aspect of serving, hardcore serving, nah, I don't. I feel like I did my time. But I have the most beautiful thing, and that's the brotherhood, ma. I got the connections. I have my best friends in the world. You know, regardless if they're in New York, if I know Lloyd, you know, shout out to the family. I know you've been out in London, and Jensen Ford, you out in Cali and Arizona, and we're all over the place. But when we come together, that cipher is
Yeah,
complete, man. That cipher is so strong. And I love you fellas, man. I say it on this platform, live in the flesh, bro. Whoever sees it across the globe, no, man. Man, I love y'all sincerely, bro. And I made a lot of decisions in
Much
my
love, bro.
life.
Respect,
Yeah.
much love.
A lot
that's
of
what I like.
decisions
Love,
in my
respect, man.
life, bro, to where it's like, yo, what would Jensen Ford do? What would Lloyd Beckford do? You know what I'm saying? Them cats wouldn't rock like that. So I'm not gonna rock like that. You know what I'm saying? Or them cats would definitely rock like that.
Yeah,
So I'm going with that. So again, man, big love to y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for coming on this platform. It's the first of many. Um, and again, man, I'm just grateful we all blessed, you know,
yeah,
and we're
man, no
able to
doubt.
bring forth today and build. So, any parting words you fellas got before we roll up out of here, man? The floor is yours.
I,
What you
you go
got,
ahead,
Lord? What
Gents.
you got, good boy?
Yo, you go,
All
Gents.
right.
I close it.
Hey, so know what? First, Clay, it's a blessing. You know, love you, man. Love the both of y'all. Um, I want to say on this platform, I thank y'all for for giving me that opportunity, for meeting y'all, for for staying true and for the connection. I mean, the fact that we're here on this live bulb session all these years later, it's a blessing, man. You know, and Clay, hats off to you and Beck for what you guys are doing and continuing to develop and lead in your own special way and for parting, trying to put that knowledge on those who are, trying to do the same and following footsteps and so forth. But enough respect, man. I'm humble. I'm blessed. Um, wherever life takes y'all, hey, all the best to you, man. Of course, we're just gonna keep building follows on the platform, and hopefully you guys were able to take away some kind of knowledge, even if it's one nugget, man, something that you can impart and take and build and grow on that, man. Because every nugget, it adds up, and one day, right? Because you figure, how diamonds are formed, just little pieces of sand, and then one day you got a diamond, man. So
Yeah,
every little piece counts, So anyhow, respect, love y'all, respect and blessings.
no doubt.
Much love, bro. You know, my parting words is this: I see a lot of veterans getting out of the military, and I see a lot of them struggling. Some of them not knowing what path to take, what to do. Um, I aim to help and I aim to support as much as I possibly can. And for someone that got out of Marine Corps and realized that, going back to school is an option, I did it, got my BA, got my master's. Anything is possible. I'm saying anything is possible. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to trust yourself. You have to be confident in yourself because once you put in the work, the results are going to come through.
Hmm.
I was a C student in high school. I barely could pass my classes, but I passed.
Right.
But to leave from that and then to go through the Marine Corps and to learn what I've learned over the years, not only to graduate with these degrees, but to graduate with distinction, what I'm saying, is one of those things. It's not an easy thing to get on a dean's list or a president's list, but I had faith in myself. Now, some of the stuff that I picked up from these cats over the years, what I'm saying, I follow Clay. I follow his route throughout the Marine Corps, all the way up to Sergeant Major. He didn't even know I was following, but I was following. What I'm saying, I'll be checking him out, seeing how he's doing and stuff. And I tell you, I respect you to the max, man. I respect you to the max.
No, bro.
You set a journey, you set a path, you knew
Yeah, no
what
doubt.
it took, and what it needed to be done to get there, and you went and you did it.
That's
You
right.
did it. Nothing
That's right.
handed to you. You worked hard for everything that you attained, and I respect you for that, man. I definitely
No
respect
doubt.
you for that. And all I
And
gotta say is, look, just be confident in yourself. Everybody on this platform, just be confident in yourself. Go for it. What I'm saying? I'm not a good test
Yep.
taker. I took my test, became a life insurance agent. I'm a financial advisor. I'm doing things not because I have to, not because I want to, But the fact that I see a need that needs to be given back, I need to give back. That's my passion. So it's like the same passion I had in the Marine Corps to raise young Marines. I get them at 18 years old, don't know how to wash. They put the whites and the colors together. I got to get them to figure out how to separate and all that. Don't put the bleach in there with the colored. You know what I'm saying? All these little things that I done taught some of these knuckleheads. But everywhere we go, we have an impact on life. And if we only have a positive impact and try to impact people's life in a positive way, then that can only result in a positive outcome. So I'm here to assist. I'm here to help. If anybody need me, just call on me. You will know how to reach me either through Clay, through Jensen, or just reach me direct. If you look up my name, you'll find me. I'm not a secret no more. I remember back in the day when I was in the Corps, my nephew tried to look me up on social media and couldn't find me. He's like, "But uncle, I can't find you." I'm like, "Good. I ain't trying to be found." Now I'm in a whole different atmosphere. So when you look me up, I'm all over the place. But I'm gonna end it out with this. Guys, I love y'all very much. And I'm gonna leave y'all with this, just a little nugget. So we on the show, I'm dealing with the case. One of them I can see the whole of them up in the face. The whole of them the whole of them the whole of them come round and come and stand. One of them I can see this a Clay and Jensen. We dealing with the case and the light on the scene. Me just want to show them how we used to do it. And when the talent show come on, me mash it up, see it. Tell them say fi cool, tell them fi calm, tell them fi humble, tell them fi sharp, tell them say them have fi born. Sure, we'll come down.
Run it, boy. Bless up, man. Bless up, brethren. Bless. Fire.
Absolutely, man. Hey, man, as we always say, man, we love y'all out there. Definitely love y'all out there. Stay tuned for more to come. And, man, be blessed. Spread knowledge, spread love, spread wisdom. Peace, love, and light. Peace.
Blessings.
Come on. Respect.